yo.
We're back to the Three Guys Drinking Coffee podcast.
Yep.
It's just 25 minutes of us drinking coffee.
Are we rolling? Oh, we are.
Everything's on.
Tasty. How's yours?
Oh, is this Maxwell House?
Nope.
Is this Folgers? Well, hey everyone. This is the 8-Bit Podcast, episode 15. I think we say this all the time. We should have had this done like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but
That should just be the intro to our podcast.
yeah, I know. Hi, I'm Jeff Ruprecht. Who's over here?
I'm Phil Davidson.
Yeah, and I'm Jan Christensen.
Hey, nice job. It's like we rehearsed it.
Yeah, the gang's all here.
Yeah, so we're back for episode 15. And I guess we'll, like we always say too, we're going to try and get these a little bit more frequently. Yeah, I know. We're just, and then here's the other cliche thing we always say is, well, we've just been really busy. Today's gonna be kind of a mishmash of stuff, more or less just what we've been up to. I think so far this summer, and which has been a busy one, outside of karate and baseball and more baseball and
Golf.
I haven't even been out yet, but
Yeah.
whatevs. I'll get there. I got the whole fall yet. I know one thing though that's been exciting for us is, especially for Jan, is we are now licensed drone operators.
Yep.
Like actually legal, like legit, not hobbyists anymore.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
Congratulations, Jan.
Nice
Yeah.
job, Jan.
That was a fun process. Learned a lot.
Yeah. When did you start doing that again? Like studying your tests and all that? I don't remember.
The earliest prep I started doing was back in March, and finally finished studying and took the test in May.
And you literally had to basically become a pilot.
To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, it is an FAA. It's a pilot certification, and you have to study the pilot's handbook of aeronautical knowledge and a lot of the information in that book. Not as much as a real pilot. But
Right, you weren't like flying stuff.
No.
But at least you could fly.
Pretending
a
to.
plane. You could fly a plane.
No, probably not.
Oh, okay.
If
I can only wish.
if the three of us were trapped on a desert island with an airstrip and there was a plane, I'd vote you to fly it.
I would too. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be like, oh,
Yeah,
out of the three of
sorry,
us.
sorry about that. Paper, rock, scissors.
Draw straws and rig it.
Draw straws and rig it. That's totally what I would do.
Strizros.
Just straws and straws.
It's probably not a thing I should.
It's the coffee.
Yeah.
No, and then so we done a couple fun things, and some of you may have seen it. We did one morning play around with. Well, we've been playing around with drones for a while, but like, one thing that we're going to talk about later on is our new website that we're frantically finishing up, and we're so excited for. But I know we were talking about it'd be cool to shoot some very distinct and engaging kind of shots to layer into to some of the pages, especially like our location and kind of showing the idea that we are in Duluth, Minnesota, and we're proud of being Duluth. So I know one morning we shot really early in the morning, and re-looking at the footage, I still cannot believe the absolute amazing light we had that morning.
Yeah, when I was rolling into Canal Park, I sped up and met Jan in the parking lot, and I said, "Let's go now."
Yeah.
I said the sun was perfect. There was a orb ship going out, and then one was coming in.
Yeah.
And then
A lot of fishing
5 or
boats going
6
out.
fishing boats going out, the big charter ones, and couldn't have been better morning.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was absolutely amazing. Like I look at that footage again, and I just, man, it's awesome. But so I just shot some really great stuff of the lake walk and of the building that we're in and Canal Park, and obviously being up high, we're able to see the expanse of Duluth a little bit. So just amazing. But that's one thing that I guess I never saw us doing is drone stuff, but it's been cool now that when Jan coming on board and mentioning he was kind of at first a hobbyist and having a desire to do more. I think the more than we started talking about content that we develop for the internet, and I just remember some of the other drone folks that have been in town over the years, which I'm not even sure if they're still around or not, 'cause I don't see their stuff much anymore, but just how engaging it is. It's
We've talked about it amongst ourselves in the past, but it's interesting to me how just a little shift in perspective makes for such an amazing shot. I was watching somebody on Twitter last week, or Instagram, was posting some shots that they took of farm equipment, and it was beautiful photography, and it was just an overhead shot of old rusty farm equipment.
Yeah, it's
looked amazing.
I mean, I never picture us doing that stuff, but now that we're doing it, I'm like, why wouldn't we be doing this?
Right. Well, and I think too, Jan and I just used the drone for some television commercials we're working on, and we did it in conjunction with 2 other cameras. And the ability to switch between the 3 cameras and these different perspectives and tell the story in a different way is just a lot of fun. Now that we're in the editing process, it's fun to flip back and forth between the cameras, and just different, like you were saying, different perspective. And
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a different perspective from a storytelling aspect. It really does tell a story, and I think that's what everyone's always trying to do in what we do. Not just us, but none of our friends and other agencies and stuff. On behalf of our clients, is we're trying to best tell their story. And man, with this technology and some of the stuff we get with it, whatnot, it's just such a perfect platform to do that.
And I think the drone by itself, you're not going to be able to tell that story, but being able to come in with other cameras and do interviews and show close-up detail, and then pan out, flip in between the 3. At least in this case, the 3 cameras that we were using was just a blast. So
Yeah, it worked really well.
Yeah, and some of that, like you said, that some of the stuff we're doing right now, the television stuff you've shown me, that because I wasn't there that day, you guys were taking care of that, but man, it was some pretty awesome stuff, and I'm excited as where we go from here with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit.
Well, and I like the fact that when we use the drone, apparently it doesn't rain, because it was like 90% rain that day, chance of rain that day. And
yeah, it was nice of them to build weather control into the drone.
Right. Up until about a minute before we got to the 2 different locations, it was raining.
Yeah.
And then when we left, it was raining, so we got lucky that day too.
No kidding. Just thinking about other, I think with drone stuff too, you're always thinking of that kind of, bird's eye view all the time. But like some of the ways that you guys are using, like in the shots, were even like low to the ground and more of like a pan, like if you had like a gigantic boom or something that, that's what's kind of cool too, is just to get that kind of similar kind of, I don't want to say Hollywood, but that's more of a cinematic quality,
effects,
quality to it. That's not just that's a drone shot because it's up in the sky. It's low to the ground, and like you said, panning around people and coming down an expanse of a hill or whatever, or next to a car, and it's just a different feel to it. You just can't get,
Right.
You think about the old way, having a dolly and having
Or a helicopter.
Crane or whatever, to do some of the same shots now just with a drone.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
What just happened?
It's the coffee talking. Well, and that's cool. I know one thing since we're talking about these television commercials too, is I know now we're talking about, kind of the process that's taken to do that. And I think today's underlying theme here is kind of process, even though we're kind of going through some different topics today. But I know one thing too you're talking about is just the process going through now, like the edit and like stock music versus maybe not scoring our own. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? I know that just kind of switching gears to other pieces and parts that make up the process of a great, even a video. I mean,
yeah, when it comes to music, obviously it's like photography. I mean, the stock photo has its place and can do a great job, but if you can shoot custom photography, custom video, it's just going to enhance and make everything better. And so I think the same about music is there's a lot of great stock footage or stock music out there, and it's fairly inexpensive for most of it. But you could spend hours and hours and hours looking, or you can have it scored, scoring as in the spot is done and then they come in there and put the music to it, or come up with some kind of a general, I guess I'm not sure how I'm trying to say this, but I think what we're trying to do with this stuff we're working on now is to get them 3 spots to have its own music, but looking forward into all of our other stuff we're doing for them, and having that music kind of become part of their brand, their identity. So anyway, we're kind of in negotiations right now of getting some music done, and for some of the stuff we're working on, and I just think it's going to add a much higher level of things to it. So
right,
kind of they'll be known for their music as well. And
yeah, that's exciting. I mean, think about these beautiful drone shots. Now you got some custom. I mean, just takes things right over the top. You know what I mean? It's I'm excited for the stuff that we've been working on lately. Can't wait to show it to the world.
Well, and then you get subtle things like there might be a tiny bit of animation involved in the final spots. I'm not talking about cartoon characters, things like that, but maybe some type treatments, stuff like that, some logos. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be one of those. This particular campaign is going to be kind of showing a lot of our expertise in one nice little package.
Right.
So.
And it illustrates really well exactly what I love about this business is it's the perfect marriage of art and technology.
Yeah.
And using it all for one purpose.
It is such a, and all the difference. I mean, really we're talking about senses too, I mean, just the beauty visually, the sound part of it, how it all comes together. And like you said, it really built that kind of brand essence, that we're trying to do and ultimately tell a great story, Well,
you're talking about the process, and right now we're in the fun part of the process is putting it all together and creating the final piece.
Yeah.
In the beginning is when you're doing the planning and the concept. The concepting is always fun. The planning isn't always my favorite when you're trying to schedule 50, 60 people in some cases to coordinate to be at the same time, same place, and you worry about weather and locations and your camera just shut off.
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah.
The magic.
The magic. Well, it's funny you're talking about that because then kind of tied to that too is, we just did a lot of work, video work and a bunch of other stuff that is also coming out soon for United Way. And, we use stock music, which is good too. I really like what we found, and even that has become such a great resource. There's so much better stuff, and the way they've cut it up so you can actually use it a little bit more easy, a lot easier is something. But that's one thing too, the United Way stuff that we did, and what we did, 3 or 4 days of shooting.
Yeah. Between
all the stories and some of their internal folks over there, and to really again tell that story of at least the Head of the Lakes United Way, which is specifically who we're doing work with here in Duluth, but they actually represent such a large geographic area, so we have a lot more area to kind of tell different stories beyond that. So
one of the things you just said though too is I talked about using stock music versus custom music, but you get a client like United Way that we're doing this pro bono for them. There isn't a budget, so it doesn't make sense to go have something custom written and everything. There might be some people willing to donate some time to do that, but at the same time, I think you got to pick and choose when you use these resources. And that'd be the same with stock photo and video and things like that, where if it doesn't make sense in the budget and overall thing, then there's some great resources out there.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Luckily with that campaign, we had Mark Fitzgibbons from Fitz Photo.
Fitzy Fitz.
He donated his time for the video and the photo portion of that and the audio recording and everything. So shout out to him for all his work he did on that campaign as well.
Amazing stuff. I mean, and I know, for Mark, he's done both for a long time. I would say, and he would probably agree that he's probably known more for his still photography, but the video work he's doing is fantastic. It really is. And that's, we work with a lot of different videographers and photographers, and they're all great, but specifically on this project, man, it was really nice working with him on that. It was kind of nice to see what he could do. So Fitz, did a nice job. And speaking of process, so really kind of switch the mold or turn the table here a little bit. We're working, like we mentioned before, we're working on our website, redoing it.
Yep.
We're finally at a point where we're actually building it. Yay, Jan. Because it's been something we've been working on for 4 or 5 months now. Kind of off and on, a lot of talk, a lot more talk. Kind of like this podcast, we kind of put it off. And then come back to it though. and then keep making strides. And we finally got to a point, and that was one thing I think it's been hard. Talking about process is our own process of doing something for ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's easy to do it for other people. Well, I didn't say it's easy, but it's definitely a lot easier to make quicker decisions, I think, because we know the process, we know the steps it takes to do it. And so for us, when it's someone outside of us every day living, breathing Creative Arcade, and for our clients, it's a little easier to say, yep, we're doing that. No, we're not doing that. We got to do it this way. We got to tell this brand story, Then you get to yourself, start to second guess yourself a lot because you know yourself so well. And then you're like, well, is this really telling our story right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with clients, you can take yourself back and get an outside perspective and see what they're not seeing.
Right.
For our own internal stuff, we're the internal audience and the external audience. Well, we're trying to be at the same time. And like you said, we second guess a lot of things. And I think we're to a point though. And honestly, when the website finally launches and you see some of the work we've been working on, hopefully you'll see why we have been so busy and why these podcasts maybe aren't coming out as frequently as we'd like. But because we feel like we got some great work to share.
And then too, I think the other part of it too, now that we have Jan on board, we did a lot of great web work when it was just you and I. But when we had Jan come on board, it was just like, you and I. Right? But no, we decided, we're like, wow, we've been doing really good stuff and we can keep doing that the way we've been doing it. But it's like, well, now we have Jan here, and he kind of took us to a whole nother level as far as the interactivity and the things that we've always wanted to do. And you can kind of dream in your head, but you can't make work because again, our coding knowledge went good enough, but not to the point where we have Jan now. So now it was also one of those things where like, well, we could do it this way, but why wouldn't we do it this? Because now we can do those things, So then it's like trying to get, what makes sense, like you said, not doing something for the sake of doing something, but also to give ourselves a chance to show off some of the things that we could do.
Yeah.
So then it's like, well, is this the right way, or should we go a little bit farther, or do we need to scale back? Does it still fit us? So that was always a fight too, in such a process, of, I guess, a little self-doubt, but also not self-doubt that we couldn't do it, but is this the right way of doing things? And then we finally got to a point where we all felt good about, this feels like us. This will, as a user, will also feel like us, to them, like what we're trying to portray in ourselves and what we want them to know about us. Quite a deal.
Agreed.
And that's gonna be fun too. I think we've got some couple really cool, fun things that really plays off Power of Play, which for those that maybe have not heard of that, it's kind of what we're trying to build our inner culture around. Why we do a podcast, why we do some of the things that we're doing, is around the idea of Power of Play, to play around with exploring and learning things, and then like we're doing with the drones. It's something that was already kind of a hobby. We took it to another level. Now we're using it actually in our work, and our clients are benefiting from it. That's kind of a really good example, I think, of why we're high on the idea of Power of Play.
Take the things we're passionate about and use it for our clients.
Right. And you know what? If we would have did drone stuff and never did a commercial shoot with it, but we just kept doing it and maybe using it for ourselves, we'd be happy with that. Because they're not always going to pan out into specific things, but we hope they do. But the things we learn along the way are, just such valuable things. But
agreed.
Sorry, I like to talk sometimes. So anyways, so what, anything coming up here soon that you guys are excited about? I know we got into summer here, obviously.
Yeah.
Kids are going back to school soon. Yes. I don't know, anything going on this fall that you guys, or lately, that we wanna hit on quick before we end for this episode?
Well, I think sounds like the three of us are gonna get together for a little golf outing next week, maybe. And
that'll be fun.
I think maybe we should bring the GoPro and, I don't know, maybe a drone or something.
There you go. That's a good idea. I didn't think about
I
that.
think we can have some fun with
See if we can
that,
get kicked off the golf course for flying around.
right? Maybe we'll ask first. Maybe,
Yeah.
but
I don't think they'd care.
I think we'll get kicked off for hacking up the course, maybe more.
Right.
Probably, yeah. Total newbie.
Yeah, just like you said, kids are back to school, which changes our schedules a little bit.
Right.
But, it's cliche, but I feel like the summer went fast, and everybody
it
says
did.
that every year. But
Yeah.
I mean, wow, it's getting to the end of August here, and
Yeah.
how about the eclipse? The eclipse next week,
Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that. What day is it on again?
Wednesday. I
Wednesday,
think.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, because Tuesday we have that. Well, I have that inbound talk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
real quick,
Speaking of processes.
speaking of processes and getting ready for, and I know you guys will both be there too, but I'm speaking to the Hermantown Chamber of Commerce about inbound marketing and our belief in inbound marketing and the things it provides.
Tuesday, 7:30. Sign up today.
Yeah, free to all who are members. So looking forward to that. I know you guys are going to be there, and you said you're just going to heckle me.
Yeah, we're just going to be there to heckle.
but
Obviously.
yeah,
Ask really difficult questions.
yeah. I'm going to make sure I find a couple places I have to have you guys speak up a little bit. I'm going to figure that
You
out.
gonna give us a heads up on what we're saying?
Maybe.
or-
Probably not. Just have to wing it.
Agreed. So that's cool. That's coming up. And speaking of school, we've had some exciting potential new clients
Yep.
that we're really, really excited about. Of course, we work with West Virginia University Athletics. But drum roll, please. Philly, tell everyone who we're not working quite actual tangible work yet, but we're still working through the early stages of our relationship with.
Well, recently we just signed contracts with Missouri,
University of Missouri,
University of Missouri.
Mizzou. Yeah.
You put me on the spot. I almost forgot what I was supposed to say here.
Yeah.
But, University of Virginia. And can we tell the other one yet or not?
No, the other one we have to wait, I think. 'Cause
Okay.
There's still
We actually haven't. The contracts are in the works, so we haven't signed anything yet. But we do
Yeah.
have another school as well.
Yeah.
So that'll put our total school roster to 4.
Right. It's kind of weird that we were starting to kind of build this little niche of higher education, but we're all for it. It's been fun with the ones we've been working with so far, and the idea of where we're going with the new ones is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that was one of our goals. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Is this is an area we wanted to find a little niche in, and now it's starting to come to fruition here. And
Yeah.
I hope it expands more. And I think it works because we understand the market. We understand the market,
Right,
and
right.
it's fun. We enjoy doing it. So hopefully more news to come with that. And now that school is starting, I think maybe some of that work will pick up.
Right. Yep.
So
Well, regardless, we've got we've started that relationship, and we'll see where that goes. And obviously, we'll share more as we have more things happen. But that's been exciting just to see things starting to pick up on. Again, like you said, building that niche a little bit. That as far as that some of the industries that we work with, which has been many over the years. And with that too, I mean, we've been doing a little more healthcare work, and obviously our friends, we're excited for them. HTK Marketing, where Phil and I both worked for in the past. Great company, lots of friends there still, but they changed their name to Haley Sue.
yes, they did.
And we went to their little party the other week. It was like 3 weeks ago already.
Yeah.
Wow. Time flies. Summer flies. But yeah, that was kind of cool. I mean, that was something that as they transitioned from the ownership, 5-6 years ago, they talked about maybe changing their name at some point, and
Yeah.
they finally did, and happy for them.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I thought once they converted from the HT Klatsky and Associates to HTK Marketing, I just felt like that was probably it. That's what they would be forever. And I know
Yeah.
they kind of said they might want to change the name, but I thought, wow, you're going to change it twice? That sounds like a daunting task, having gone through that ourselves. and I'm proud of them. Like that's awesome that they were to found something they loved and did it and pulled the trigger on it. So and I think they did a great job of really getting that out there to everybody.
Right.
That this is our new name and this is why it's our new name and here's all of our branding and identity and all that kind of stuff. It was like it wasn't. They didn't slow roll it, at least externally that I saw. It was like bam, bam, bam. Here's everything. Yeah. Everything got changed at once, which I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just like in the way they do things, again, talking about process, I mean, they did it for themselves too, where, you know, it's grounded in great positioning and, you know, they know who they are and what they want, you know, in their business and what they want for their clients. And so having that all kind of come together is, you know, it's typical the way they would do things and the way you probably should do things, you know. So it was nice to see them following their own process that they would do with anyone. So yeah, so good thing for them, and I'm happy for them. So that's cool. So all right, well, that's probably been a lot of stuff to digest. So maybe we should sign off till the next one. But any last parting thoughts?
No.
I'm trying to spontaneously come up with a really cool sign off, but
I thought you were going to say I'm going to try and spontaneously combust. That was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why that popped in my head.
I don't think you try to do that.
No,
it just happens.
You could sing the outro.
Sing an outro? Yeah.
You going to sing an outro for us?
Oh, no. I'm volunteering.
Yeah, wow. Well, okay. Well, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys later.